docket for the Public Disclosure Commission, brief adjudicative proceedings. A number of matters on the docket this morning, and a large number of people who've joined us, so we're going to have to be mindful of everyone's time and get through this as quickly as possible. I'll save my comments for after the one person who has signed up for public comment. Connor, you have 3 minutes, and then we're going to get to our docket.
Well, thank you, Chair Isserlis and Vice Chair Hayward. I wanted to start out today by addressing the respondents who will be participating in this hearing today. I want all of you to understand that I didn't file a complaint against you because I dislike you or because I disagree with you politically. I filed these complaints as part of an effort to persuade the PDC to abandon this dysfunctional complaint-based enforcement system for C3 and C4 reports and to adopt the effective enforcement procedures of other states. Put simply, in other jurisdictions, if a candidate fails to file a report by the required deadline, most campaign finance agencies will take notice, remind the candidates of their obligation to file, and if that reminder is ignored, other agencies will step in and impose monetary penalties, establishing an effective incentive for people to file on time. By contrast, the PDC doesn't do this. The PDC has historically not been tracking candidate filings to make sure they're filing the required reports on time, and the agency effectively relies on political opponents and disgruntled members of the public to initiate enforcement cases by filing complaints. This is a dysfunctional system, and it has to change. I've been trying now for nearly 2 years to get this agency to change its enforcement practices, and all of my traditional efforts to push for change have been ignored by the agency. The only meaningful option left available to me then was to take the agency in one hand and the problem with the agency's dysfunctional enforcement system in the other, and to put them both in a glass jar and to shake the jar up and down until one organism devours the other. And we are in the process of that now, and it is a painful process. But when it's all over, the public is going to have far better access to campaign finance reporting information, and we are going to have a far more functional PDC. Because of the commissioner's leadership on this issue, including you, Chair Isserlis and Vice Chair Hayward, we've already started to see some slow progress towards change. Specifically, the commissioners have just recently instructed staff to begin sending out filing reminders to candidates for the upcoming 2024 general election to reduce the rates of noncompliance, and I think that that's going to be a significant help moving forward. Next, I wanted to quickly address some of the defenses that you might hear asserted at today's meeting. You might hear, well,
Connor.
Yes, Madam Chair.
You're done. It's 9:03.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, let me start out by saying, and I appreciate everybody's patience, that the comments that you just heard were public comments. They're not evidence in any of the proceedings that will be taking place this morning. I want to make that very clear. One person's opinion. And in the future, I've asked that the Public Disclosure Commission move public comment to the end of these adjudicative dockets to avoid any influence or appearance of impropriety with respect to these hearings. So that's number one. Number two, for the staff who are presenting today, if a violation is found, I just want all the standard orders to contain the following so that I don't need to say it at the end of every hearing. I think that will help shorten things up a little bit. The standard order will say whether or not there is a violation, whether or not a fine is going to be imposed, if a fine is imposed, whether or not there will be a suspended portion. If there is a suspended portion, the required missing reports in order to take advantage of the suspended portion must be filed. All of them must be filed within 30 days from the date of the order that will be issued if a violation is found. And the orders will also contain that the suspended portion will remain in abeyance if the forms are filed and there are no further violations within 4 years from the date of the order. That's our standard order. I just want to let everybody know and the staff know that you can incorporate that language into all of the orders, and that's if a violation is found. So I'm not making any suppositions here. And then just as a before we get to the docket, and I apologize, now I have to go back and find my email. I lost it that has the docket on it. We are dealing here today with potential violations of the public disclosure law. These cases are being held pursuant to an administrative agency infraction docket. These are not cases involving assault or terrorism, like blowing up an airplane, which is criminal activity and where people die. So let's make sure that we all understand this is an infraction docket. We will proceed accordingly as such. I have already indicated off the record, but I need to indicate on the record that there are two matters, the Campbell matter and the Nielsen matter, that I need to recuse myself on, and Commissioner Hayward has agreed to handle each of those hearings this morning. So who's going to start from the staff with the first group of candidates?
Well, Nancy, I'm just doing the quick opening statement for
sorry, I forgot.
Jordan and
I'm
Colin.
sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
You go ahead, Tabitha.
It's brief. So this is part of the cases from the bulk complaints we've received. We'll be presenting PDC cases with matters regarding contribution and expenditure reporting, which is RCW 4217A 235 and 240. The penalty that has been suggested by staff is $150 per the penalty schedule. However, it's not very detailed in this area, and the presiding officers do have latitude on the penalty amount. So we just wanted to make sure you understood the suggested penalty and that came from the penalty schedule. The complaints were regarding the 3 mandatory reports, and I'll keep it brief. That's the intro.
All right. So who's presenting the first group? I see Jordan Campbell on the line. Jordan, are these your cases or Tabitha?
I'll be handling the people who are participating today.
Okay.
You may want to swear in both Jordan, Colin, and possibly Kim, who might have information throughout the proceedings.
Good idea. Jordan, Colin, and Kim, raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving, if any, today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
I do.
All right. Thank you. Jordan, up to you now.
All right, so it sounds like we want to start with Shana Campbell, since Alan's going to be hearing that one. So this is going to be, whoops, just one moment, wrangling a bunch of different things on my screen. This is going to be PDC case 150348, Shana Campbell. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that this respondent violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file or timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These reports were due to be filed with the PDC no later than October 17th, October 31st, and December 11th, 2023, respectively. This respondent did file the reports. Who didn't file the reports prior to today's hearing. They have no prior violations, and they are participating. A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Shana Campbell for failing to timely to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the day of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions. The recommended penalty for this is $150, and that could be assessed as a flat $150 or per report. You do have the discretion to do that, or however you want to. You could also do more, but that's just what our penalty schedule says.
Do you know if Ms. Campbell was elected?
Am I able to talk now?
Just one moment.
I can ask her.
Looks like she won.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember to swear in, Alan.
I will.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay. Ms. Campbell, are you prepared to testify and swear that what you testify to will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I'm not sure. Is my mic on?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, I
Ms.
was
Campbell,
muted and it would not let me unmute.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I testify to tell the truth.
Okay, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Thank you. Go ahead and tell us why it is that we didn't get a filing from you yet.
I did submit my filing after I received my notice, where when I received the notice in the mail from April 19th, I did submit a filing after that. So I'll have to go back and look in my records, but I did submit the filing per the recommendation of the public from the PDC.
Okay. Jordan, can you tell me, do we have a filing?
I'm just double checking that right now.
I do not see any C4 reports filed for that campaign. 2023.
Okay, well, I'll have to go back and look in my records or log into my the DOR account or however we did that and look at that. This is my first time in public office. I'm on a school board. I'm a school board member, and I just simply clicked the full filing when I shouldn't have at the time of the election cycle. So my apologies. And I did, like I said, I thought I had completed the filing after I received this notice on April 19th, but I will go back and double check my records on that.
Okay. Is there anything further that you would like to present?
Nope, just this was not fully understanding the process, and school board superintendent and our secretary to try and get this filing, trying to change my filing from the full reporting, so this does not happen in the future.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to find that there was a violation, that the fine is $150, but with $75 suspended in long as we in fact have the filings or receive them within the 30-day period. With that, I'm not sure. I think I've done what I need to do at this point on this case. If so, thank you. Thank you for your service, and hopefully in the future you'll either file mini and have that worked out or file full and work that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I could, Commission Chair Isserlis, I'll just suggest for everybody involved, if you need assistance after the BAP, please feel free to respond to your emails and speak to the assigned person, or they can help you get connected with a filer assistance specialist to help get things filed. I just wanted to take care of that for you guys in bulk. Thanks.
Yeah, and the goal here is to get the information and get the reports filed. So everything that we can do to encourage that, our staff is wonderful at helping folks. If there's a glitch or a computer glitch or something that you need assistance on, we get rave reviews about our customer service people all the time. I encourage you to take advantage of that. All right, Jordan. Let's make sure that we take people in the groups.
Mm-hmm.
So that we don't get confused. So let's go with the first group, election year 2023, first-time candidates with no prior violations. If you want to go through that scroll.
Yes, ma'am. I'll start with it'll be Hazem Ghanem, I think is how you say it. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too badly. This is going to be PDC case 150295 against Hazem Ghanem. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that this respondent violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These reports were due to be filed with the PDC no later than October 17th, October 31st, and December 11th, 2023. This respondent failed to file the missing C4 reports by today's hearing date. They have no prior violations, and they are participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Hazem Ghanem for failing to file the C4 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-337-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the day of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions, and the respondent is on the line with us today.
Thank you, Jordan. Mr. Ghanem, would you like to unmute yourself so you can participate? First, let me swear you in. Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. What would you like to say in response?
First, I'd like to mention that the RCW 4217A 755 does not have a mandatory penalty. My C4 has been filed. It was, I misselected for the full reporting. I've had 0 contributions to my campaign running for school board, and I did not win school board elections. I would like to request a $0 fine. These school board positions are mostly volunteers spending their own time and money running these campaigns, and a lot of them are, minorities who are trying to support their community.
You think you'll run again, Mr. Ghanem?
I am not sure.
Okay. Well, you're right. I think school district members don't get paid anything. They do it for the love of their community and the love of their children. And I'm glad that you took a run at it, and hopefully the Shoreline School District is in good hands. But you didn't file a report, so I have to find that there is a violation. And I'm going to impose the standard fine, but I'm going to suspend all but $25 of it. So just in case you ever file again, make sure that you get that. The most important thing is get the report filed, even if it's 0, just so that we can close this case and move on and know in the future, if you ever run, check the mini reporting box. Thank you.
Sorry, you said standard fine, but I don't think there is a standard fine for this.
Well, I'm going to impose a $150 fine because that was what was suggested by the staff, and that is on our penalty schedule, which you might be able to find in another location, but suspend all but 25 with the standard order language.
Okay, so does that mean that I'll be fined 25?
Yes. Well, you're being fined 150. I'm suspending everything but 25 if you get the report filed within 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
The report was filed this morning.
Oh, you didn't tell me that, Mr. Ghanem.
I mentioned that I filed. The C4 has been filed. Yeah. Okay,
so the report got filed this morning. So you're done with all of your reports now? All right. You could have saved yourself the trouble of coming to this hearing if you'd have filed it a few days ago. So this matter is concluded.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our next person, who I believe is, so this would be Karis Cersei, I think is how you say it. Might be Cersei. This is going to be PDC case 150312. Karis Cersei.
Hi, I'm here.
Well, once I get done presenting this, you'll get a chance to talk. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging this respondent violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports. This respondent failed to file the missing. They have no prior violations, and they are participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Karis Cersei for failure to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the date of the hearing. As previously stated, the recommended penalty for that is $150.
All right, Ms. Cersei, are you unmuted so I can swear you in?
Please use *6 to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes,
Raise
I'm
your
here,
right hand so
sorry.
I can I swear you in, please? Do you
Yes.
swear that the testimony you'll be giving this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. How would you like to respond to Mr. Campbell?
Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing, and I got a letter saying that I filed something wrong and I paid the fee on time, and then a couple months later I got another letter saying that I also filed something wrong, and I wasn't completely sure because my dad was the one who was helping me most of the time. So yeah, I thought I paid everything on time, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
So, Jordan, I'm just double checking with you. Have the reports been filed?
She did previously have a prior enforcement case as it was part of the candidate BAP last year. So I think
Okay.
that's what she's thinking about when she's talking about, a prior situation.
Okay.
C1.
And I'll add in that it was for failure to file an F1.
Thank
yeah,
you.
that was what I got fined for, was the F1, and it was $150 fine, I believe, and I paid that on time, and then I got another fine in the mail like a month later.
Did you file the F1 report? You may have gotten a part of the penalty unsuspended for failure to file the actual report.
I believe I did file the report, yeah. My dad sat down with me when I got the second letter in the mail, and he kind of like went through everything with me to made sure that I did everything correctly. So that's why I was under the impression that I had.
Well, I think you
So
probably
I-
did that part correctly, but these are different forms and different reasons. This is when you were you successful in your race for the school district in Longview?
Well, I didn't win, but I'd say that I was pretty successful. So
I
but
think
didn't
just
win, no.
running is successful. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. It was a learning process. So
Yeah, most campaigns are. So do you how much money did you raise for your campaign, if any?
I believe I raised like $150, $160 around there. Not much because it was a small campaign. So
Okay, so you would have been eligible for our mini reporting option. Do you think your dad and you would have time to file this final report? If you only raised $150, it shouldn't be hard to finish it up and get it filed.
yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
He is out of town today, but is there any way I could get it done by like tomorrow?
Oh, we'll give you 30 days. So
Oh, okay.
tell him not to rush home from wherever he is. So
Okay, thank you.
unfortunately, because the form was not filed, I do have to find a violation. I'll impose the standard infraction fee of $150. And because I liked that you said you were successful by just having run. That warmed my heart today. So I'm going to suspend all but $25 of.
Oh, thank
fine.
you.
But get those reports filed so we can. And I hope you run again. You sound like you have lots
I
of good
plan on
energy. Okay, good.
Yes, I do.
We'll get those forms filed and pay the unsuspended portion of the fine, and we'll get out of your hair.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, moving on to the next person. So this is going to be Robert Lynn. This is PDC case 150339 against Robert Lynn. Robert Lynn was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging this respondent violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. This respondent failed to file the reports prior to today's meeting. They have no prior violations and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Robert Lynn for failing to file the C4 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390 37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the date of the hearing. As previously stated, that penalty is $150 recommended.
And just confirming the report has not been filed?
Unless it was filed this morning, and I can double check that. That's correct.
Mr. Lind, are you online?
It hasn't been filed yet.
Okay, Mr. Lind, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me swear you in. Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us this morning. I can't see you very well, but I can hear you. So go ahead and let me know what you think.
Okay. Well, it might be the lighting. Can I interject something? My daughter helped me with those forms, and I'm sorry I didn't get them in at time, but we did a C3 and a C4. The C3 told how much money I got as a donation, which was $1,200 from the local education association, KEA and WEA PAC. I went to a couple of their meetings and they supported me with $1,200, and I spent $1,240, I believe, which was on the other report, at the sign company for campaign signs. So I spent a little bit more than I got, and that's the end of the story. She helped me with the forms. In fact, she's here right now. I have to plead into stupidity on not getting the forms in on time, just not really excuse me, I'll get rid of that. Sorry about that phone call. Anyways, back to pleading stupidity. My background is I'm a school teacher for 46 years. I taught high school and college, and you'd think I'd be smarter than I am, but take that phone away. Anyways, I'm a math teacher, so it probably didn't help me with the logic stuff. So I apologize for not doing what I was supposed to comply with. And that's the end of my story, I guess. You say you don't have the forms. We both sat together on the computer and she did it. Here she is, Athena, my daughter.
Well, no, let's not I want to have to swear in more people that we need here.
Okay.
Our records
Jordan,
indicate that there was some access into Orca, but there are no records suggesting a submitted report. So the information very well could be entered into Orca, but the reports have yet to be submitted. But I am confident that with a little bit of help from us, we can get those submitted shortly.
Well, the honesty of it is I got more money than I spent. So I didn't figure there was a big problem. But if there is a fine, I'll take my punishment, and I won't be involved with this anymore.
Well, and thank you for your service as a school teacher and for your commitment to the community to run. I appreciate it. There are certain buttons that have to get pushed. The information is probably sitting there waiting to get inputted into the system, but technically it hasn't arrived yet. And so hopefully you were on the phone at the beginning when one of our staff members.
Well, we did this how many months ago? I mean, it was
okay. But you probably didn't hit the submit button. Or there's a button at the very end that requires you to hit it so it goes into the system. So I think with probably one quick phone call, you can probably resolve this with the customer service people.
Okay.
After this meeting is concluded.
I'll write that down. Customer service. You don't happen to have a phone number, do you?
It's 360-753-1111.
5111. Okay.
And they're very helpful people. They can get us out of your hair, I think. So
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your candor. There is a violation technically because it wasn't properly inputted into the system or the computer. I will impose the standard violation infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25 on the assumption that within the 30-day time period that the order provides, you and your daughter can get this information filed with the PGC. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you. Will I receive a fine in the mail, or should I try to figure out who I'm going to send this $25 to?
Well, wait until you get the order in the mail. You can call.
Oh, okay.
And if you call the customer service people, they can walk you through the details. But wait until you get the order in the mail, which should be sometime next week, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
It is important. It is important that you get the document filed though within that 30-day period.
Yes.
Or the 25 becomes 150. So make sure.
I understand. We'll do our best, sir. I mean, I don't know why. Did you see a submit button on there when you did it? I mean, I don't think you can make it much more difficult for the average person to try to go through this stuff. But thank you anyways.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
Chair Isserlis?
Yes.
Can I just mention orders for this matter, these hearings may not go out as early as next week.
Okay.
Given the number of orders here, it may take us a little bit longer. We have up to 30 days. And so we'll try to get out as fast as possible, but just wanted to not cause concern for those who didn't see them in their mailbox next week.
Yes. But the 30 days starts ticking from the date the order is entered. All right, what's next, Jordan?
All right, it looks like the next person will be Scott Olson. So this is going to be PDC case 150343 against Scott Olson. Scott Olson was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that Scott Olson violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day and 7-day and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The reports were not filed prior to today's meeting. They have no prior violations and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Scott Olson for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 39D 143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the date of the hearing. That recommended penalty is $150.
Mr. Olson, are you unmuted? Can you join us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm unmuted then.
All right. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony that you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. First of all, were you successful in your race for Kelso City Council?
No, it's close, but I lost out to a 40-year.
Can you explain why your reports have not been filed?
Well, I guess I thought they were. I'm kind of new to Washington. I ran 3 previous elections over in eastern Idaho. Each one of those I was successful in and didn't have to file because they were smaller communities. And here I knew this being a larger community and everyone was saying you need to this and you need to that. So I got a campaign manager who I thought I could trust and a treasurer because I was busy enough trying to get to meetings and get my face out knocking on doors and doing all those kinds of things. And that didn't work out so well. I learned a good lesson there to be careful who it is that you have assist you. I'm not trying to put all the blame on them because ultimately it's my responsibility. I'm the candidate. I felt like I went in there and you're saying you haven't received any reports. I thought I did all the reports, including the final one.
We received one C4 report at towards the end of the campaign, but it was covering May 23rd, 2023 through June 30th of 2023, and neither of those were one of the required C4 reports for the election.
Ooh, I guess I'm not sure they're required then. I'm going to have to get the helpline also because I tried to go in there and I couldn't even find anything. I couldn't find the previous reports. I did. I apologize for that. I don't want to be burned at the stake because
we don't burn people at the stake here. You needn't worry about that.
I appreciate that. I really do. I'm not trying to not be compliant, but at the same time, this was a real. This was a hard campaign. It took a real effort, and I put a lot of effort into this, and I failed to put enough effort into the filing of things. And I apologize, but it is a little bit complicated for someone who hadn't done it before, and that's why I got a treasurer thinking I would get the help that way, and a lesson learned by me.
Do you recall about how much money you raised in your campaign?
Yeah, I raised around right at about 2,000.
Okay.
And I spent probably closer to 3,500.
Probably out of your own pocketbook.
Yeah, it's I'm still trying to recover.
Well, thanks for the background that you ran in Idaho. They have very different campaign finance laws than we have in the state of Washington. But now that you're here and living in Kelso, you have to abide by our rule with our law, which has been in effect for over 50 years. So
yeah, I ran for two school board units and one city council. And again, my campaign was smaller communities. I made up a flyer myself, and my family and I went door to door, and we were successful. But I also, in all those communities, I was involved in either I was Chamber of Commerce president or economic development director. So I had name recognition, which I didn't have enough of here in Kelso yet.
Yeah, well, I like that. Yeah, that's a good way to end that sentence. So do you think now that you could find someone to help you file those reports? It doesn't sound like you raised too much money or spent too much money, so it shouldn't take too much effort. Can you find someone to help you do that?
I guess I better, huh?
I hope you can, yeah. And this customer service people can't help you, get the information to prepare the reports, but they can sure help you get them filed once they're prepared. Anything else that you want to say?
No, I've appreciated the opportunity to run, and I appreciate you complimenting people for making that effort. The young gal who ran for school board in my area in Longview, she will be back. I've been quite impressed with her, and several places where we spoke, she was there, and I met her at different meetings. And so we all need encouragement. We can't just keep sitting back and letting things happen and complain. I've always said, if you need to be part of the process. I just didn't expect it to be this, end up where we're at today. That's not like me.
Well, thank you for those comments and for the kind words about the school board candidate in Longview. I thought that was sweet. So on the assumption that you can find somebody to finalize and file these reports, I am going to find a violation, impose a infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25, because you sound like you understand your mission here, which is to get the reports filed.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Olson.
All right. So now moving on to our next person. So it looks like we're going to be moving into, let's see here. Just double check something. So it looks like the sorry,
Are we done with the first group?
yeah, I was just double checking it. Okay, so our next person is going to be David Tobin. And this is going to be people who filed prior to the hearing with no prior violations. So this is going to be PDC case 150. This is going to be PDC case 150-284 against David Tobin. Staff is alleging this respondent violated RCW 42-178235 and RCW 42-178240 by failing to timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. This respondent filed the missing C4 reports prior to today's hearing. They have no prior violations with the PDC. And they are participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-178235 and RCW 42-178240 against David Tobin for failing to timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 or who filed the C4 report prior to the day of the hearing. Bill, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jordan. Mr. Tobin, can you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in, please? Do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this morning is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. What do you have to say from Pacific County?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to participate in this program this morning. I think has been noted, I did file my reports, and I want to compliment Liddell from the PDC for being such a huge help to me in getting that done. This is the first time I've ever run for office. It was actually something I never in a million years expected to do, but here I am. And so I think I was very unfamiliar with all of the processes that go into it. That's no excuse. I should have done better. I will do better in the future. And I think I have a much better understanding of what needs to be done now, and also certainly a much better understanding that the PDC is there to help, and that I can reach out if I have questions or concerns. So that's, I'm not making excuses. I'm not, you know, I missed the deadlines. I have, I guess, made up for that oversight or omission by filing and getting that completed, and we'll make sure that that happens on time. So I, as nice as you folks are, I don't have to come back and visit you again another time.
Were you successful in your campaign for county commissioner?
I was, and it was
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was, I'd been appointed to finish out a term, and so I did a year of that, and then I had to run again last year to actually finish the term, and then I'll need to run again this year in 24 to do a 4-year term.
Well, then you'll be an experienced candidate.
I should be an experienced candidate, and I should either know the answers to the questions or know where to find the answers to the questions. Yes, ma'am.
And Jordan, I'm just doubling back with you. All the forms have been filed before the hearing, correct?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Tobin, you graciously acknowledged that your forms were late. I appreciate that they're now filed. Like I said many times, our goal here is compliance. And with your heartfelt comments, I trust that you understand that these PDC deadlines are important, and timely receipt of information for the voters and the public is what we aim to get. I have to find an infraction and impose a fine of $150, but I will suspend all but $25 because I think you have the right intentions in mind here and understand what the rules of the road are going forward.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that very much. And yes, I do. I understand the rules of the road moving forward, and I will do everything I can not to be back in front of this committee next time.
We appreciate that. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, and you too. Bye-bye.
All right, so moving on to our next one, which will be Scott Prado. This is PDC case 150344, against Scott Prado. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 23. The respondent did file the missing C4 prior to today's hearing, and they have no prior violations with the PDC, and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Scott Prado for failing to timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who filed the C4 report by the date of the hearing. As previously stated, that's recommended penalty is $150. Bill, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jordan. Is Mr. Prado or Prado? Could you make sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly for you?
It's Prado.
Prado. Okay, we got that right the first time. Thank you.
Yep.
Would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in? Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
What do you have to say from the city of Aberdeen?
I'm not exactly computer savvy, and I had some problems doing it, and I kind of got frustrated. After I got the letter, I got my wife to figure that help me with this is basically all I have to say. So,
And was your wife successful in helping you?
yes.
Well, there's the answer to everybody's questions right this morning.
Yes.
Have your spouse help you. That'll get things done.
Yeah, then you will hear about it for quite a long time. So anyway.
You are not the first person that has told me that over the several times that I've done these hearings. So anything else, Mr. Prado? I will find that there is a violation. Thankfully, your spouse saved you and got the forms filed before this morning's hearing. I'll impose $150 fine and suspend all but 25 because now you know your wife can get these filed correctly and you'll go to her first in the future. So anything else, Mr. Prado?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to the next. So we're going to be moving on to our repeat candidates with no prior violations section who failed to file the reports. And we're going to be starting with Alex Davis. So this is going to be PDC case 150266 against Alex Davis. Alex Davis was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These reports were not filed prior to today's meeting. They have no prior violations, and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Alex Davis for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the date of the hearing. As previously stated, that recommended penalty is $150. Bill, if you have any questions.
I don't. Mr. Davis, are you with us and unmuted?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, let me swear you in. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
First of all, where's the Franklin Pierce School District?
We're Parkland, so in between Spanaway and Tacoma.
Okay.
The Parkland area.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been a candidate before and didn't have any violations, so that's what happened this year.
Well, I've never ran a campaign on any of the times that I've gone for school board, so I have $0 in anything. I've always just done the information that was in the pamphlet, and so that's all I've ever done. And so I had $0 on any campaign, and so I know I'm also my profession outside of community work and working on the school board as a pastor. So it probably was just an oversight, especially with not having run a campaign or anything. I do a lot of weddings, funerals, and community work. And so if I missed it, it was just an oversight. But yeah, I never have ran a campaign at all.
Well, you probably ran a campaign, but you didn't raise any money or spend it. You didn't raise any money or spend any money. It's you've registered to run for office, so you technically have, you have a campaign, even if you only report zero income and $0 out. We have special forms and for those kinds of small races.
Okay.
But it's so hopefully with the aid of our customer service people, you can get your forms. Sound awfully simple to file. 0 and 0 will be pretty easy if you can get those submitted through with the customer service people. So okay. Were you successful? Was your small campaign successful?
It was. So I won 2 years in a row.
Okay.
First time I got on school board, I was filling in for somebody who left, and then I've been on the school board ever since.
Okay. Well, hopefully going forward, I commend you for being successful without raising or spending any money. That's the best kind of campaign to run. I will find that impose the infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25. Get those forms filed and go forth and make sure they're filed in the future if you run again.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely will. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
If I could, I have a question for Jordan. I see on these ones of candidates that have run before but have no prior violations. That doesn't necessarily mean when they ran before they filed anything, does it? It just means there wasn't any complaint that came in that generated a look at them. So if somebody could have run before, not filed anything, and still they could say they've ran before but they don't have any violations. It doesn't mean they filed successfully before.
Correct.
Well, he did say he's never raised any money nor spent any money.
Right.
So they should be easy to file. What's up next, Jordan?
All right. So next up is going to be Brandy Lippold. So this is going to be PDC case 150272 against Brandy Lippold. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. They did not file the reports prior to today's hearing. They have no prior violations with the PDC, and they are participating today. Staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Brandy Lippold for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the day of the hearing. As previously stated, that recommended penalty is $150. Bill, if we have any questions.
Thank you, Jordan. Ms. Lippold, are you with us?
I am.
All right, and you're unmuted. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what happened?
Sorry. I have been a candidate before, and when I filed, it's never asked me for C4s before. And so that was when it asked, I thought it was wrong because I was a school board member and I don't campaign. There's no money involved in it. So I thought that was a form for maybe other candidates. So I 100% ignored it, thinking it wasn't for me. It was for me. So I'm very sorry I didn't do those forms. So I will figure out how to get on. I reached out to customer service when I got another reminder saying to fill them out. And it wasn't very clear to how to do it. So I'm going to go find someone on the school board that did fill them out because they're not on this docket with me and have them help me.
Both good ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I do appreciate that. I would say the vast majority, almost 100% of the races for school board that come before us are people who do it from their heart and for the benefit of their community, and often raise no money. And if they do, it's very minimal amounts. So thank you for what you do for Natchez Valley. On the assumption that you have indicated that you can find somebody to help you get this report filed, I will find that there is a violation, impose a fine of $150 and suspend all but 25.
Thank you very much. I will make sure to fill it out this week.
You are welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so now we're moving on to Christopher Dowler. So this is going to be PDC case 150277 against Christopher Dowler. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The respondent has not filed the missing C4 reports prior to today's hearing. They have no prior violations with the PDC, and they are participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 3217A240 against Christopher Dowler for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the day of the hearing. One thing I will add is this morning we did receive a request for assistance from Mr. Dowler, citing some issues, but I'm sure he can answer any questions you have about that.
Thank you, Jordan. Mr. Dowler? Are you
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Do you swear that the testimony you'll give this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Well, we did receive a request for assistance. What do you have to say in response to what Mr. Campbell's raised?
I agree with him. I have had an amputation partially of the foot. So they gave me 12 bags of antibiotics, and now I'm doing much better. Almost completely recovered. And also, I want to say that the SAW website is contaminated and there's some kind of virus or something there. I did double check my PDC report thing today, but I do not know how to get to the C4 part. So I'll have to call your helpline and try to get that fixed that way.
Were you successful in your run for school board in federal?
0.62%. So I'm doing a little better, but I spent no money and took in no money.
All right. Sorry about your health problems. I will find there's a violation and suspend all but $25 of that. Hopefully you can get the customer service people to help you file that final report.
Okay, will I get a bill in the mail or do I have to?
You'll get an order in the mail.
Okay.
It's probably take several weeks to get that out because of the volume that we have today. So wait until you get that before you respond. But get your forms filed ASAP.
Okay. Thanks a
All
lot.
right. You bet. Bye-bye.
Jordan, we've had Mr. Wyborny join us. He was a member of the previous group that was heard, was having some difficulty getting in this morning.
Let's go through this group first and circle back to that.
Okay, he has advised me that he may need to drop off then.
Oh. All right. Well, Jordan, can we circle back and get that one done then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. let me just find, oh, I already had them right there. All right. So this is going to be PDC case 150301 against Jeff Wyborny. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The respondent has not filed the reports by today's hearing. They have no prior violations, and they are participating by telephone today. PDC staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Jeff Wyborny, sorry, for failing to file the C4 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the date of the hearing.
Thank you. Mr. Is it Wyborny?
Can you please use *6 to unmute yourself? I think we can hear you.
Hello. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Hi.
Wait, let me just
yes,
wait.
this is
Hey,
Mr.
hang on just a second. I need to swear you in. Do you swear
Okay.
under penalty? Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now it's your turn to talk.
I had a friend of mine who's a fire chief ask me to run for a fire district position because the previous person was going to not run, and I filed, and then she filed, and then I decided that I didn't want to do it because she's really good, and and I thought that was the end of it. I let King County know, but I guess I let them know too late, and I appeared on the ballot. And then I had a previous issue with the non-disclosure because I thought I didn't know any of this. I didn't look into it. I never raised any money. I never did anything. I never even talked to anybody about voting for me. As far as I was concerned, I was out. I got a letter from you guys last year. I had lost my job, and I talked to a gentleman who was there who was super helpful. I had to pay a $200 fine, which was a very big deal to me at the time. And I do have a new job, so I'm working, but I'm still recovering from that. And I paid the $200 fine, and I filled out all the paper, and I swear I asked if I was done with this nightmare, and he said yes, that I was all done. I do not have any other letters indicating that I was supposed to file something else. I never, like I said, I didn't even tell anybody to vote for me at a coffee shop or anything. I spent no money. As far as I was concerned, I was out of it. I had paid my $200 for not paying attention to a piece of paper somewhere along the line, or doing due diligence to find out what it is I needed to do. If I was a real candidate, I think I would have done that, but I wasn't running, and I opened up this letter and saw I had this hearing today, time TBA, and I guess stuff is sent out via email, but I've had my email since like 1999, and I get so much junk in there. I so much gets by me, and so I don't even know what it is I was supposed to fill out. I thought I was totally done, and the super helpful gentleman that I talked to in last summer, I thought he indicated that I was done, and I'll do what it takes to remediate this. I suppose I have to fill out some kind of form that tells everybody that I didn't collect any money from anybody, but I don't know how to get that form.
Okay. And yes, even if you didn't collect any money or spend any money, we still need to know that your candidacy was completed, and the forms are properly
That
filed.
does, that totally logically makes sense to me now. I just thought I was done with this, and I don't have any other letters from you guys other than this one.
Well, you probably
Since I
did
paid
get
the
some.
fine last year.
You probably did get some others, but they might have been buried in the volume of email that you get. Jordan or Kim or
Oh yeah.
whoever's on the phone, can you what was the previous violation and what was the fine that was paid? What was that for?
Okay, Jordan, I'll take that one. My understanding is that the respondent had a case for failure to file the F1 and the C1, and prior to the hearing, he did complete a statement of understanding and pay a $200 penalty because it's $100 per report.
Okay, so the only thing he has to do now is close the loop and get this last form filed?
I believe that is correct, yes.
Okay.
And under our new policy, starting in 2024, there would be something going out if a C4 was due. They would get a warning, but you didn't necessarily get one. We're still under the complaint-driven process.
Yeah, I would add that there were notices sent out to candidates in October prior to the 21-day report due date, so that to let them know that mandatory reports were coming.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Y. Bree, I appreciate your candor. I forgot to ask, were you successful or did your opponent win?
She won incredibly. People know she does a good job. Yeah, and I got a handful of votes, but I probably just from somebody who wanted to vote for a man instead of a woman, I suppose. I don't know why anybody would have voted for me.
Well, you got a few, but yeah, your name was on the ballot. You got a few votes, so good for you. I will find that there's a violation, impose the standard infraction fee of $150 and suspend an all but 25. It sounds to me like with minimal effort, you can get that last report in. And if you ever run again, I hope you get a few more votes.
I don't think I will. It was a favor, like I said. I appreciate your waiving some of that, and I appreciate everybody helping me. How do I find out how to get this form?
If you call the customer service line, can somebody repeat that now in case anybody else wants to write it down for reference?
Yep. Yeah, that is 360-753-1111.
Okay. And they can direct me directly to the form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You're going to need to be able to sign in, but after that, you can go right for it.
Okay.
Thank
you very much. And then you said I will get something else in the mail to pay the $25, but I have to wait a couple of weeks because that's what I heard you say to the previous guy.
Yeah, get the form filed as soon as you can and wait for the order to pay the fine. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. So our next person is Edward Wittes. So this is going to be PDC case 150291 against Edward Wittes. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The respondent did not file the reports prior to today's hearing. They have no prior violations and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 42-17-240 against Edward Wittes for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 report by the date of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions. Oh, pardon me, the recommended penalty is $150.
And I just missed a comment. Have the reports been filed or not?
No, they have not.
They've not. All right. Mr. Wittes, are you with us?
He needs to
see
unmute.
his, I see his initials. You need to unmute.
Did I do it? Okay,
Mr. Wittes?
I get it. Yes. Is the
Denise
camera on?
The camera's not on, but we can hear you.
Okay, let me see if I can turn it on. I don't know if I use this computer.
If not, as long as we can hear you, that's the most important.
Okay, perfect. My hand's up.
All right. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. What do you have to say from South Snohomish Fire and Rescue?
Well, first, I did win. Thank you very much. It was kind of
Congratulations.
and I got the notice that I did the forms wrong. I called up when I got that, and they said that because I received no contributions, nor did I put in any money into it, that I filled out the wrong thing and was supposed to do the mini reporting. I did that, redid it, and I thought I'd been done with it. I've been on it since we've been having this thing, and I think what I forgot to do is hit I certify, because right now it looks like it's good. So I think that's what I did when I screwed it up, but I changed it to mini reporting, and hopefully that works out. I'm learning as I go. I've spent 37 years in the fire department. I retired, and I'm kind of like dumb as a box of rocks when it comes to being an elected official, but I'm getting there.
Well, I certify is an important button, and I've missed that a couple of times myself, but luckily I got the form filed before the deadline. So I will find that there is a violation, and I appreciate that you took the time and effort to get the form filed while you were waiting in line. I think that's terrific. I will impose a standard infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, Jordan.
All right. So our next person is going to be Judith Durpeck. This is going to be PDC case 150311, Judith Durpeck. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The respondent failed to file the missing C4 reports prior to today's hearing, and they have no prior violations, and they are participating with us today. PDC staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Judith Durpeck for failing to file the C4 reports and assess appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the date of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Durpeck, are you unmuted? Try again.
She unmuted then muted herself again.
I saw that she was briefly there. Well, now we can see you, but we can't hear you.
There's a microphone at the top corner of your screen, likely, that has an X or a line through it. Just click on that and that should unmute you. There you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Judy.
Right.
And
Judy, hang on a sec. Let's throw you in. do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, now you can proceed.
I did file 2 months ago online with the PDC as soon as we got the letter. My husband is my financial campaign manager, and I ran unopposed in 2023. We had no bank account. In fact, I closed it. I did no fundraising because I ran unopposed in my second term. I'm a retired teacher and I'm a grandma choosing to serve my grandkids and the community. I'm on a fixed income and I didn't fully understand the process. I thought in the second term that it carried over. Also, my email for campaigning was problematic and I didn't receive anything on my end, but my husband did. And I do apologize for a lack of disclosure.
So I can take, since you were unopposed, that you were campaigning.
Yes.
I will find that there is a violation. Well, let me, you said you tried, did you say you did file or you didn't file? Colin, I see you raising your hand. Let's clarify that.
A C4 report was filed on March 21st, covering June 12th through June 30th, but that does not cover any of the C4 reporting periods that were required to for the campaign.
So you filed some, but not all, and even though you didn't raise any money or spend any money, we still need that final report.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, and so I will find there is a violation and impose the standard infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25 now that you understand what your mission is going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks for waiting.
Finish it.
Dustin.
All right, Jordan, next.
Next is going to be, all right, so it's going to be Mary Miller. So this is going to be PDC case 150330 against Mary Miller. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 reports for election year 2023. They did not file the reports prior to today's hearing, and they have no prior violations, and they are participating with us today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Mary Miller for failing to file the C4 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the day of the hearing. That is, as previously stated, $150, and I'm available for any other question. I'm available for questions.
All right, Ms. Miller, are you ready?
I am.
You swear under penalty of perjury the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. Thank you. Very nice to see everybody this morning.
Are you the mayor or were you the wannabe mayor?
I am.
Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you. I'm still blown away. This is such a great experience. You probably already have heard about us hitting the news nationally and globally now about the zebra that's still on the loose.
I thought, is there still one missing in
Still
action?
one as of 20 minutes ago.
You can run, but you can't hide in Snoqualmie.
Exactly. But anyway, I do want to apologize. I thought I had filed. I've certainly run before as a city council member. It appears I didn't. That came with after getting my email that showcased that I hadn't filed. So I started looking into that, had some difficulty getting online, and then finally got through this past week and filed the C4. I had a lovely experience with, I think it's Ashley Carlson was her name. She was just she just made me feel comfortable and made me feel less stressed out. So I appreciated it.
So the form's been filed now.
It has been filed.
all
My
set.
apologies are completely sincere. I we'll try not to do this again, and I'll advise all council members and all electeds to stay tuned and stay aware.
Yeah, spread the word. That's always.
I will.
The more education we can do about this, making sure that people who do run for office, even if unsuccessful, get the forms filed on time.
Thank you very much.
So since I know you need to get back and look for that missing zebra, I am going to impose, find a violation, impose the infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25. And thank you for the work you do.
Thank you for your
for the city.
graciousness. Thank you for all the work that you folks do. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So now we are going to move on to repeat candidates with no prior violations who filed after the hearing notice, but before the day of the hearing. And the first person in that group is going to be Josie Calderon. So this is going to be PDC case. This is going to be PDC case. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The reports have been filed and they have no prior violation and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Josie Calderon for failing to timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who filed the report prior to the date of the hearing. And that is $150, and I'm available if you have any questions.
I don't. Is the person on the phone? I see the initials JC. Can you unmute?
Again, it's up in the top right corner of your screen.
There,
and
I
there's
see.
a mic. There we
Perfect. So
go.
sorry. Good morning,
Okay.
commissioners and staff. So sorry. Thank you so very much for having me here. One quick
Wait,
thing. Oh, I'm
can you
sorry.
hold on? I need to swear you in first. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're going to be giving this morning will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay,
So,
thank you once again for having me. Well, I will say, I think most of the candidates said what I'm about to say. I did make a mistake in regards to the C1, to the C4. I was supposed to be filing a C4 form since I didn't collect any funds. And then during this time, a lot was going on in my life. For unforeseen reasons, we had to move from the home we were renting, and we had to find a house, buy a house, and move into it while dealing with my son's mental health at the same time. So a lot was going on in my life. I was locked out of my emails. I could not get through my emails. I never received anything in the mail till recently. And that's how I knew that I needed to file these forms and that I needed to do what I needed to do in order not to be in trouble.
well, I'd call it trouble with a small t, not capital T. Doesn't rhyme with pool. Were you successful in your campaign?
I was not, because once I knew that I had to move out of Battleground, I ran for city council in Battleground. Once I knew I had to move, I moved to Brush Prairie. That's where we found a home. And unfortunately, I didn't do anything else after that. I know that it was a very close campaign. I was 5% away from winning. So if I would have campaigned and did more, knocked on doors and had the time to do all of that, there's a big possibility I would have won, because this was my second time running for city council.
Okay. Well, we need to get the final form filed, which it sounds to me like you can do with help from our customer service folks. I will find it.
I'm so sorry, Commissioner, but I did file the forms already.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
I filed
I'm
them
sorry.
last week, and then I was told you should have filed a couple of days prior, then you wouldn't be coming to court. I said, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, this isn't really court, but this is just a little administrative proceeding. And thank you for the clarification. I was trying to keep, I have a list in front of me. I'm trying to figure out which list your name was on, so now I have it right. I will find that there was a violation. It was a little late. I'm sorry that you had those complications in your life, which may have interrupted some of the flow of information from the Public Disclosure Commission. And I will impose the infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25. Since you do have the form filed, wait till you get the order, and that'll be the end of it from us, our end.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Our next case is going to be Patrick Day. This is going to be PDC case 150263 against Patrick Day. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging the respondent violated RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 by failing to timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The reports were filed prior to the hearing, and they have no prior violations with the PDC, and they are participating today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 42-17A-235 and RCW 42-17A-240 against Patrick Day for failing to timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who filed the report prior to today's hearing. Hopefully you have any questions.
Mr. Day, I see you're on the line. You're unmuted. Okay.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you for filing the forms. Sorry they were a little late. What do you have to say besides that?
Well, since actually the beginning of the year, I've actually been out of Washington. My father came down with kidney cancer. So me and my wife have been going back to California dealing with that. I've only been in Washington for about 3 weeks so far this year. Thought they got everything. They took one kidney out. He now has a tumor in his other kidney. So we're dealing with that. I did not see any of these letters. I take that back. I did see one letter, but I thought it was a mistake because the last time I ran mini, did not realize I clicked the wrong thing. I took in no money for this campaign and I was unsuccessful. Believe it or not, I utilized some of my signs from my old campaign, and within 3 days, all my signs have been stolen. Caught somebody, tried to talk to the police department, and was told that was not on their priority and they weren't going to deal with it, which, coming from a law enforcement background, I thought was insane. But yeah, it was a very interesting race. This has become one of the most nonpartisan races I've ever seen. So I plan on running again, but I don't know. It's just been such a hassle. Don't really have any excuse except as soon as I did see the letter the last time I came in, I tried to get it done as quickly as possible. In fact, I am leaving back for California tomorrow morning. It's killing me financially.
And I'm sorry to hear about the health complications in your family. So the report has been filed.
Yes.
And I sympathize with your theft of yard signs issue. many years ago, I used to work on a lot of campaigns, and that was a chronic problem. And I'm sorry that happened to you. I will find that there is a violation, impose the standard infraction fee of $150 and suspend all but 25. Good luck in your future campaigns if you choose to run again.
Well, like I said, I took in no money. I spent all my own money. And after that, it wouldn't have been bad if they wouldn't have taken them all, but every one of my signs were gone within 3 days. And I still ended up getting almost 40% of the vote.
Commendable.
So,
all right, thank you.
But I
Mr.
do appreciate all your guys' help. Your staff have been very grateful with their help. It's just one of those things. It wasn't high on my priority dealing with my family issues. And like I said, I thought it was a mistake the first time, but I will take care of that and deal with it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Day.
All right, it looks like I accidentally skipped over Craig Buckton in the previous group, so we're going to do him now. So this is going to be PDC, and this is a repeat candidate who failed to file prior to the hearing. Just so you know what group that's in. This is going to be PDC case 150280 against Craig Buckton. This respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that Craig Buckton violated RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. The reports have not been filed as of today. They have no prior violations, and they are participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against Craig Buckton for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the date of the hearing. That is, of course, $150, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Mr. Buckton, I see your initials up there. Are you unmuted? Looks like he is. Can you tell?
He appears unmuted.
He does. Mr. Buckton? Well,
sometimes the settings, Mr. Buckton, might be set for the wrong audio.
Good afternoon. Can
Oh,
you
there
hear me
we
now?
go.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. We can hear you just fine, not necessarily see you. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you'll be giving this morning is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right. What happened? How come you didn't file your reports?
Well, I guess I'm kind of unfamiliar with the process on doing that. I thought I had clicked something other than full reporting because there's no campaigning, there's no contributions. I guess I don't know what to do here. I thought I had went there and put 0 for any contributions. Maybe I hadn't submitted it. I don't know. I'm really at a loss and kind of frustrated with the whole process. So I guess if you can point me in the right direction on what to do, I'll do it.
Were you successful in your run for King County Protection, Fire District Protection?
These are basically unopposed positions. There's not a lot of interest in the community. So yeah, I do hold a position.
Boy, not in Spokane County, I'll tell you. Sometimes those are fiercely contested, so.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a lot of people that want to step up here and would like to participate in that, so.
And you said you didn't raise.
I think so, and I think I clicked on the reporting by accident.
Okay.
And I did try to go back and amend it a while ago, and it was since I did it, it wouldn't let me go undo it, if that makes sense.
That could be. So I'm going to commend you to our customer service people because they are very helpful and they can help you navigate those little twists and turns that might be unfamiliar. But the most important thing is you get that last report filed, even like I've said before, even though you don't raise any money or spend any money, you still have to report that fact. So.
And that would be on the bidding reporting, ma'am?
I don't, Kim, can he go back and amend at this point to go from full to mini now that the campaign's over? I don't think you can.
Okay, I think that's where I got a little screwed up.
Okay. But if you run again in the future, make sure you click the right box the first time.
Yeah, well, there will be no more running after this.
Okay, all right. I will find there's a violation, impose the standard fee of $150 and suspend all but 25.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now we're going to move on to our groups.
Wait, let's do this. Alan still has to handle the other case that I'm recused on. Do that. I'm going to step away for just a minute, and by the time he's done, I'll be back.
All right, we can do that.
But before you step away, I wanted to say, if it's possible, I'd like to revisit that first case where I imposed found a violation, imposed 150 and suspended all but 75. If it's possible, I would like to, based upon everything else that we've seen, that case is really no different than the other things we've dealt with. I'd like to reduce that so that it's 150 penalty with 125 suspended and 25 owed.
All right, we can.
That's fine with me, and I think we can do that without any further ado. If you make that notation, Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I didn't feel that deserved to stand out as something different than what the other things we've dealt with today.
All right, let me just make a note of that. And so now we're going to go to Holly Nielsen. So this is going to be PDC case 150297 against Holly Nielsen. PDC case, this respondent was a candidate for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging the respondent violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file the reports prior to today's hearing. The reports have not been filed and they have no prior violations, and they're not here today participating. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 against the respondent and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390 37143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the day of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. And the person is not present, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'll find a violation, impose the penalty of 150, but suspend all but 25.
All right, sounds good. And I guess we're just waiting for Chair Isserlis to get back.
Sorry, I was back. I just forgot to come back up.
All right, so we're going to start with our first group, which I am also presenting. So this is going to be the group of first-time candidates with no prior violations of RCW 4217A 235 and 4217A 240 who failed to file prior to the hearing, just so you guys know which group we're looking at.
Okay.
All right, so time to start listing off case numbers and names. This is going to be PDC cases 150268 against Anthony Perlis, 150273, Carson Maestas. 150276, Christine Puzis. 150294, Holver Olsted. 150259, Jason Alexander Mend. 150260, Jason Jake Hunter. 150309, Joy Radigan. 150322, Manny Rodriguez. 150331, Monica Burnett. 150333, Myra Ballantyne. 150340, Robert Todd Andrews. 150342, Scott Mason. 150357, Tim Wynikopp. 150359, Tommy Stearns. And 150567, Richard McLean. Staff is alleging these respondents for candidates for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging these respondents violate RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. All these respondents failed to file the missing C4 reports prior to today's hearing, and none of them have prior violations with the PDC. None of them are participating today, nor have they provided any written testimony, and staff is recommending you find a violation of RCW 4217A235 and RCW 4217A240 against these respondents for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37143 for filers with no prior violations who failed to file the reports by the date of the hearing. I'm available if you have any questions.
Have you had communication from any of these folks at all?
We may have had some, but no like written testimony or anything like that. I don't have a list in terms of.
Okay. And so all of these folks would be folks who have not filed the report.
Correct.
Okay. I looked at the vast majority of these online last night. I can't promise that I hit every one, but most of these cases looked to be mini reporting eligible. There are a couple of exceptions for people who were elected to positions where they may receive some payment, but most of them appeared to be modest, if not zero campaigns. We still need the final reports. I will impose, for each of those cases that you just mentioned, I will impose the standard administrative penalty of $150. And since these folks didn't take time out of the day to show up and explain what their transgressions were attributed to, I guess I'll suspend half of that so that we can maybe catch their attention.
Okay, so that'll be 150 with 75 suspended, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm not very good at math. All right. I think Colin has the next group.
Hello. Bear with me. This is my first go around. So these are for election year 2023. They're first-time candidates with no prior violations of RCW 4217A 235 or RCW 4217A 240 who have filed their required reports prior to the hearing.
Okay.
And those are cases 150320, Chris Ostness, and case 150283, David Skagg. These candidates were These were candidates for elected office of election year 2023. Staff is alleging that the respondents violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file or timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These respondents failed to file the missing C4 reports by today's hearing date. And they've had no, yep.
These are folks who did file.
Oh, they did file. Oh, I'm sorry. These respondents did not respond to the hearing notice or provide any information to PDC staff. Staff recommendations. Staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 against these respondents for failing to file or timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance to WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations, but who have filed the C4 reports by the date of the hearing. In this case, we recommend a penalty to be $150, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. So just confirming, these folks have filed the report, albeit late.
Correct.
Okay. Not seeing either of the people in this category online. I will find a violation. Hopefully they'll remember to do it on time if they are candidates again. Standard administrative penalty of $150, and I'll suspend 100 of that since they did get their reports filed on time.
Thank you.
All right, we're back to me. So this is going to be repeat candidates with no prior violations who didn't file their reports.
Who have not filed reports.
Correct.
Okay, just double checking.
All right, so this is going to be PDC cases 150265, Adam Marshall Eltinge, 150288, Deborah Lynn Hart, 150293, Mary Rose Gonzalez, 150296, Linda Harold, 150302, Jessica Aaron Oz, 150316, Kenneth Hansen, 150318, Kenneth Koski, 150325, Pamela Martin, 150326, Ryan McIrvin, 150328, Michael Ray Mullen, 150337, Thomas Perry, 150362, David Way, 150264, Winnie Schlittenhart, 150299, James Ray Smith. So these respondents were all candidates for elected office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging these respondents violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These respondents did not file their C4 reports prior to today's hearing, and they have no priors with the PDC for these RCWs. None of these folks are participating today, nor have we received any written participation. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 against the aforementioned respondents for failing to file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the C4 reports by the day of the hearing. That recommended penalty is $150, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. For these candidates who are repeat candidates who should know better, quite frankly, and no report has been filed for each, I find that there is a violation. impose the standard administrative penalty of $150 and suspend half of that, which is $75.
All right, thank you so much. And I think Colin is going to carry us home for the next two little categories.
Thank you. This next category is for election year 2023. These are repeat candidates with no prior violations of RCW 4217A 235 or 4217A 240. They did file, who filed their C4 reports after the hearing notice, but before the date of the hearing. Those are PDC cases 150354, Susie Ritter. Case 150269, Austin Lott. 150368, Jody Fletcher. 150356, Amanda Thompson. These were candidates for elective office in election year 2023. Staff is alleging that these respondents violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file or timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These respondents did file the missing reports prior to today's hearing. The respondents have no prior violations with PDC for these RCWs. The respondents did not respond to the hearing notice or provide any information to the staff. Staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 against these respondents for failing to file or timely file the C4 reports and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who filed the C4 reports by the date of the hearing. In this case, we recommend a penalty would be $150. I'm happy to take any questions.
I should remember this, but I need my memory refreshed about what the penalty and suspended amounts were for Ms. Calderon and Mr. Day that were in the same category.
I believe that was suspending all but 25 since they filed.
Okay.
Correct.
And I'm assuming that these folks who filed and didn't show up today probably thought their business with us was concluded. So I'll do the same for the remainder of the folks in this category. Find a violation, impose the fee of $150 and suspend all but 25 since the reports have now been filed. And I think from my review, all 4 of those folks who did not show up today were school directors that likely had little to no activity in their campaign.
Correct.
Last up
is election year 2023. Candidates with 1 or more prior violations of 4217A with unpaid penalties. No prior violations for RCW 4217A 235 or 240. These cases are 150274, and they did not file. They have not filed the reports as of today. And those cases are 150274, Charles Mr. Jr., and case 150285, Dean A. Berkeley. These were candidates for elective office in election year of 2023. Staff is alleging that these respondents violated RCW 4217A 235 and RCW 4217A 240 by failing to file or timely file the 21-day, 7-day, and post-election C4 summary reports for election year 2023. These respondents failed to file the missing C4 reports by today's hearing date. The respondents did have prior violations and unpaid penalties, but not for 235 or 240, I believe.
Can you, for the first person that's on the list there, I'm looking something else up right now. What were those penalties for? What were the violations?
Yeah, it looks like there was a penalty for $150 for a failure to file the the F1 RCW 4217A.700 for election year 2021, and 4217A.205 for election year 2023, and that is for a penalty of $1,000.
And are those penalties both unpaid?
Correct.
Okay. And no word from
No word.
Not in this matter, no.
Is this a current person who currently holds office?
I do not believe so. Give me 12 seconds to.
No,
give
I'm
you-
looking at the school board right now. What's his name?
Charles Mr. Jr.
He is not on the school board currently.
And he lost the general election, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, he must have lost in the general.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, I gotta get back to my list here. I will find that there's a violation. It troubles me that this guy has other transgressions, but they're for different matters. And so
But they're unpaid.
they're unpaid. So I'm going to impose the penalty of $150, but I'm not going to suspend any of that because I think he's had his chances in the past, and we'll add this to the list and see if we catch his attention. I will note it is a school district. Well, he might actually spend some money in Everett. That's a big enough town. You can't cover it with 2 yard signs. All right. And as to Mr. Berkeley, what's the prior for him?
It is another prior for 4217A.700, a financial affairs statement from year 2019, and there's an unpaid penalty of $250.
Did he file his F1 or for that year? That was before I was on the commission.
It 2019. It does not. There was an F1 filed on April 11th of 2019 covering the calendar year of 2018. So
No, he didn't.
I don't think think he did.
Okay. And there's been no activity for him since 2019 then, till just this last year?
For the F1, there was a financial affairs disclosure filed on June 13th, 2023.
Okay.
For this campaign.
For this campaign. He owes an old one from some time ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's worth noting he's been out of office since 2019.
Yes.
That was going to be my suspicion.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure. Okay. For Mr. Berkeley, I'll find that there is a violation, impose a fine of $150, and I will suspend half of that to encourage him to get his report filed on time. And if he's at it, maybe he can clean up the old one too.
Okay.
Is that a requirement that you clean up the old one?
Yes. Yeah. File everything.
Yeah.
And same for Mr. I waited all morning to say that.
All right. Looks like
Okay,
that's the end of our agenda.
That's it.
I think that's it. Anybody else on the line that thinks that their matter was scheduled for this morning?
No. I don't see any.
Okay, I see Kurt Young is online, but I haven't seen his face this morning, so Kurt, we miss you at our meetings. There you are.
And if
Good morning.
you want to adjourn, I can stop the recording.
Yeah, let's adjourn.